Today we're going to do a demonstration and a review on the EasyBoot Epics. I've been using them on Coach East for the last 6 months now. He suffered from some laminitis starting back in October up through December, and so we've been on the road to recovery since then. He had very thin soles after that, so trying to get him some good exercise was a challenge because he became so tender-footed. So as you can see, he needs the exercise because he needs to lose weight, plus riding him and exercising him increases circulation to his feet to try and build up his soles. So we were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard spot. So I got these EasyBoot Epics. I was kind of limited to choices because of the size of boot that I needed. It kind of came down between the EasyBoots or the Cavallo Bigfoot boots, and I chose these because they came with the gaiter on them, which I like because it can keep some of the sand and grit from getting down in the boot. Plus, in my mind, it kind of makes me think that it helps the boot stay on, even though it has this nice wire enclosure to really snap down and get a grip on the hoof. I think that helps, helps it from getting pulled off if you walk through mud or something like that. So I got a whole set of 4. These boots run you I think in between $80 and $100 a boot. Of course, since I had to get the bigger draft size, they were about $100 a boot. But no complaints here because we have ridden some pretty intense trails, creeks, mud, sticks, rocks, everything, and I haven't lost a boot. I had one boot break, and that was, I think, just a bad make of the boot because I haven't had any more problems since then. And I sent the boot back. They sent me a prepaid shipping label, sent it right back to the manufacturer. They sent me a new boot, very easy to deal with, and I haven't had any problems since, and we've ridden through some rough stuff, so I think that was just a fluke. But customer service was excellent. So we're going to show you how to put them on, a couple tips that I've learned because they can be kind of tough to get on because they're so fitted, and that's why you need to do a good measurement on your hoof when you order them. But we're fixing to go through all that. Okay, one thing I have learned about these boots is you want to train the gaiter if you choose to use the gaiter. If you don't want it, they send you a kit to replace the screws on the outside, so that's removable, but I like it, so I keep it on there. So if you use it, start training this thing to bend backwards. Make sure it has like a natural fold in it, or you'll be fighting it tooth and nail, because when you try to slide it on the hoof, it'll get wrinkled and pinched under the hoof inside the boot, and you don't want to try and pull it out by the gaiter because you'll rip all the stitching. They do give you this strap on the inside to help kind of pop it up on the back of the hoof. I found that semi-useful, but it is something to pull on rather than the gaiter. So as long as you train that to bend back and stay out of your way, you'll have a whole lot less heartache. So I've already got the hoof cleaned out. Shake the dirt out of our boot, and then you want to start pushing it on the front here, and hopefully it'll snap on. So that went on pretty good, and it's because we've used them a couple of times and trained that gaiter to stay folded back. Okay, so then you can see from the back view there's no wrinkles under there, no tucks. If it gets tucked under his hoof, it can be difficult to get it out. Sometimes you just have to take the boot completely back off and get that gaiter folded down out of your way. But that's how it should look, fitted good. But his heel is a little bit back. If he takes a step or two, it'll slide forward, and I can kind of get this get that bulge out of there, but that's nothing. The boot is in place, so that's what you want to look for. Okay, so the gaiter's nice and straight. That little kind of tug strap normally ends up under the hoof. It doesn't seem to hurt anything, so I don't fight with it and worry about it being pulled out the back. I just kind of leave it wherever it wants to be. It's very thin. So you just want to make sure that your gaiter is pulled up all the way. And then this Velcro. Okay, and then you can pull the slack out of your wire. And this has two options. You can run this wire both sides in the center. That seemed to be a little bit too tight, so you can run it under these two screws here, and that seemed to be what worked for me at least. And then you get you a good bite and snap it down. And then to release it, sometimes you can get it to pull up by hand. Most of the time I just have to use my hoof pick, pop it right up, and don't have any problems. And that stays nice and fast, and like I said, I've run it through creeks and mud and everything else, and it seems to work really good. And even if this does pop up while you're riding, because I have heard it you can hear it snapping back up and down while you're riding, so you know it's gotten popped up. I've never had any problems losing the boot. It's always stayed in place. Looks like his hoof might could slide a little bit forwards, and after he takes a few steps we can retighten our gaiter and kind of get it in position. Give one precaution about these boots, and I can only speak for these because this is the only pair I've ever owned, so I don't know about any other brand of boots. Riding on gravel is fine. Riding on gravel on pavement, not fine. You will slide, so you don't even have to be going fast. You can just be cruising at a walk and it will get slippery. It's like walking on marbles. So I will put that out there because I wouldn't want anybody to get hurt. So that's really the only downfall I'd say there is to these boots. It's just that you just have to be careful for the gravel. But otherwise, you can rock and roll and go pretty much over anything. I haven't found anything yet that they couldn't handle or slid on. Just the gravel on the pavement. Alright, we made it back to the barn. We did a little bit more riding, and we only have one boot come unsnapped, and I think that's really from going through the tall grass. I've only really ever had that happen going through grass, you know, going through the woods, through the creeks, over rocks. They seem to stay in place pretty good. It's just the grass seems to rip those clips up. I think they make some sort of a pin you can put in those to keep that from happening. Seems like I remember seeing that, but I'll check on that and do an update for everybody, because if they do, I want them. But I could hear this one boot clicking as we were coming back in, so I knew one had come up, but you can see the boot's still in place, still nice and secure. So that's why it's important to do a good measure when you're getting them fitted, and make sure to have a good fresh trim on their feet, and then measure and then order your boots, because that's a lot of money to invest and, you know, end up getting a size too big. So that's it. That's my review. So everybody, hopefully try these out or get you some other pair of boots and get back on the trail, because we wouldn't be on the trail without them. So hope y'all have a good day and enjoy.